All right, we're about to get started. All right. Minute. See if we can get the major in here. Technologically speaking. Now I'll start without him and I'll bring him in when he gets here. We'll work it out. Hit that like, share the show while we're getting set up, folks. Let's get this started. Meantime, hi everybody, welcome to the show. Hold on, let me see if I can bring in the. Nope, that's the wrong button. I have the wrong buttons currently. There we go. Ha! There you guys are. I knew you were here somewhere. You were hiding from me. That's what was going on. I thought I had it together, and off you went. The Major will be joining us in a couple of minutes. He's having the good old Ecamm technical issues are rearing their silly heads. The waiting for a host thing. It might require I restarted my software on this side and reloaded everything. So on his end, it may be a close the browser and reopen it situation a couple of times. Andrea, that's my only thoughts on this particular one. Sorry, this is a hassle for him. Especially because he has a busy schedule because he's running for office right now. I don't want to waste any of his time. So we'll work that out in the background. Meanwhile, let's see. I'll bring up this thing. Hold on. There you go. There we go. Our dear friend and compatriot, hold on, move out of the way. I did the graphics of the thing out of the way, don't you know? See if my comms all work. There they do. There you go. There he is. He's hidden by his own sign. Join us. OjetaForense.com is his website. While I'm dangling a bit around here, he's behind there somewhere. You can see his cool haircut. There he is with the people, being a dude, actually doing the work, actually meeting people, candidate stuff that actually means something. So this campaign is built different. Well, these days, if it's built at all, that's a good sign, I think, in general. I forgot it was December. How many more days till New Year's Eve? 27? 26, right? Yes, so Richard will be with us hopefully in a moment. We're going to keep working that out. I gave him the new link. Okay. Waiting for host. Okay, so I'm on there. I'm definitely, hold on, maybe if I turn this part off and then turn it back on, maybe that'll do it. Maybe it reconnects with the host thing. Son of a dog doodle. Well, perhaps perhaps that link, I'm gonna grab a different link just in case that's the problem. I don't think it is, but I'm willing to try. Oh wait, never mind. He's here. Hold on, there he is. Look at that. It's working. Hold on. I can even bring you in right away, ladies and gentlemen. I just have to add you to this thing right here, and you'll be with us in just 1 second. The Major himself has found his way in. There he is. Hello, sir. Good to see you. It's a pleasure. You've been sorely missed.
I'm so glad. I want to give you condolences to you and your family over your father, and man,
thanks.
Believe me, my father's 83, and we're just looking at every single day like it's a blessing, man. Yep. So I just want you to know how much that I've been thinking about you and your family, man.
I appreciate that. Please don't be nice to me, because that's when I start blubbering. I will be able to, I think, at some point in the near future, not respond to people being sweet to me about this without tearing up. But I don't know when that will be. And it was particularly terrible this morning because Chris Peterson, my writer-creator of Lab Rats, reached out to me when my dad was, when he was sick and I was with him, and then when he died. And he's just been so great. And he sent me a really nice note today. And I just fell apart before the show, and I'm like, I gotta get my stuff up, and I'm running around, blubbering. So don't be nice to me. I insist. Everybody in the chat room, could you guys just boo me incessantly for a little while? Just troll the shit out of me, because then I'll be able to respond. There are a lot of things to talk about, not the least of which is this. Because we haven't spoken in a while. Lately, obviously, if you're out of the loop, and this must be strange for you in being in the middle of your candidacy and working on all this stuff all the time, is that you could be so in the loop of the candidacy and working on the issues you care about that Trump could do a bunch of rando nonsense like he did with his 160 posts between, 7 and midnight the other night, night before last, where he just lost his mind, just blathering out kind of, and largely fake accounts, by the way, all over Truth Sinkhole. And you were like, I missed that part of it. I'm on to the next crazy already. Him falling asleep in the cabinet meeting, which was just like Timu, North Korea, where they're all sitting around there going, nice poopy in your diaper, Captain. Yeah. Right? It's so, like, you can miss one day and it's just so much insanity just jam-packed in that. So first of all, let's catch us up on where you are in the campaign and your thoughts on just kind of the recent, whatever, nut picking you want to do out of this.
Well, at the end of the day, the campaign is going really, really well. We haven't filed it yet because normally they do this thing where you show up at the office and you file and you have all your friends and family around you.
Yes.
But what we're doing is we're going to do something a little different.
Oh, all right.
We're actually going to every single district that day, and we got groups of people that are going to be there. We're holding up our paperwork, and basically we're not going to make them have to come to me. We're going to go to them.
That's great.
But I'm telling you, it's going really, really well. I've yet to find people that have ever got a return phone call from Richard Hudson. This guy, he's running for his 7th term. There's people that don't even know what he looks like. He sends some 22-year-old around that calls himself, I'm number 2, and he hands out Richard Hudson cards and coins. So we're just going to go nonstop. I think we got a really good shot of defeating him. I think right now, with the blue wave that we just saw, and look, we didn't win in Tennessee last night, but let me tell you something. We sure did move that needle.
Yep.
We sure did put up a fight, and that's taking place. If the Republicans can barely keep a seat red in Tennessee, they're in trouble all across this country, and that's what's happening.
Absolutely. I have said from the very beginning that we have one goal right now. Red districts purple, purple districts blue. And what happened last night in Tennessee was a red district went purple. And it's that as a bellwether is way more scary than for them, the Republicans, than Mamdani being the mayor of New York, or Seattle getting a socialist leaning mayor, or who the fuck runs Portland. They don't care. It doesn't matter to them. But what does matter to them, which shakes their tree, is a 22% district that they squeezed out by by a hair's breadth. And that's what that does two things, I would like to say. Not only does it put the fear of reality in them, that they may not have this kind of ideological lock on the area that they think they do, but it changes their behavior. Because if you have to send a different candidate into a purple district than you do into a far red or a far blue district. You just do. You have to come to the table. And if we take a firebrand red district off the map, and they have to bring somebody at least reasonable to the table, instead of just assuming they could just rubber stamp everything Trump does, or any kind of MAGA or Mike Lee kind of destruction of Social Security plan that they have, if they know they have to talk to the other side of the electorate, they behave differently. They have to. And that's where you're seeing Republicans who are reaching across the aisle, voting with Democrats on the Epstein files, showing up for infrastructure bills, no matter how much Trump craps on it while Biden's president. That's meaningful. So if you're in a red district and you're like, I don't know if my vote counts at all, it absolutely does. Your vote, if you're in a red district, is terrifying to a Republican. Because if there starts to be a roll where people start showing up, even if they think the district is already one direction, if they start showing up at the polls and going, oh yeah, I'm voting blue as well, that's going to scare the hell out of them, because then they have to deal with a tighter margin and a reality, as opposed to just being a rubber stamp district like Chip Roy thinks he's in.
Yeah, and I mean, people are waking up. I think they're seeing the buffoonery that we see. If Joe Biden took a long blink, we heard, oh, Sleepy Joe.
Yeah.
Now you can't even keep Donald Trump away. Donald Trump is sitting, they're giving Donald Trump, they're telling him how awesome he is, and he's too busy because he's got his head down and he's sleeping.
I never knew how boring getting your ass kissed could be.
Exactly.
You want to talk about a privileged life, that you could actually doze off while people are lining up to out kiss your ass. They were amazing.
Mr. President, you kept the hurricanes away.
Right. Fuck out of here. Man. I know. It's pitiful.
Stupidity with these people.
Well,
let me tell you something. I hope that we're going to talk about the old Hegseth, because I'm fired up.
Oh man, are we? Okay, so couple of fronts on the Hegseth stuff. His I'd like to hear your response to him laying off that blame onto the admiral in his statement. So that shows me two things. One is he's a coward. We always knew he was. But secondly, he's aware it's a crime.
Knows it's a crime.
Awareness of guilt.
And let me tell you, everybody that's listening to this show, let me tell you something. This is exactly why those 6 Democrats did that video.
Yes.
Because make no mistake about it, they know people like Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth will put people in harm's way.
Yeah.
And this right here, I tell people, it's like an ambush. Okay, think of yourself. You're going to set up an ambush. There's a little road right here, and behind the road is the forest, and you're in the other side of the road in the forest.
Yeah.
So you set out your teams. You put your security to go out. Okay.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that let you know that the enemy is coming down the road.
Yeah.
Then you put in your support element. Your support element is all of your most casualty-producing weapons. Your M60s, your 240 Bravos, your 249s.
Right.
Those are the weapons that are on your support position. Over here, we have the assault element. Okay? Now, how this works is, let's say we get word from our security that we set out that says, hey, a squad of enemy is walking down the road. Get ready. Okay, now we're ready. Support team, get ready to go. Once they walk into the kill zone, which is directly in front of the support fire capabilities, they open fire. And it's like, and then we're talking fully automatic. Bow, 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 bow.
Yeah.
People are dropping, people are getting killed, and they're going to continue firing on that until they get it's either a siren, a whistle, a flare, something that tells the support elements to lift and shift. When you lift and shift, it means you keep firing, you lift your weapons up, and then you shift it over so you're not directly firing on the kill zone, but you still keep firing bullets because you want the enemy to think that they're still being fired on so they keep their heads down.
Right.
Once the lift and shift is set, then the assault element runs across the kill zone. Now, what they're doing is they're shooting anything that's moving as they're moving across. They're kicking weapons out of the way of the bodies. Yeah. And then they move across, and once they get across, then they have teams. Mm-hmm. And one of the teams, the first team that runs back into the kill zone is the team that goes in and checks for anybody that is still alive and wounded. Yeah. If you find somebody that is still alive and wounded, you cannot shoot them. You must treat them as prisoners of war, and because they're injured, you've got to provide medical attention to them immediately. If you go into that kill zone and you shoot anybody, you go to prison. Remember the guy, the Navy SEAL that got pardoned by Donald Trump. And the reason why he got pardoned by Donald Trump and the reason why he was in trouble, there was a kid that was getting first aid that was apparently a Taliban member, and he walked over and stabbed him in the throat while he was getting first aid. That's why he went to prison. Donald Trump pardoned him, but he went to prison because he killed a person that was receiving medical aid. What Pete Hegseth is doing, and let me tell you something. This is why this is important for everybody in the military to remember. At the end of the day, especially with this administration, it's going to be on you. Yeah. Because now, after September the 2nd, Pete Hegseth ran really quick to Fox News and did a victory lap, talking about, we did it, I was there, we took them down, blah, blah, blah. Now, all of a sudden, because now it's coming out, he's saying, well, I was there for the initial strike, and then I left because I'm a busy man. Yeah. And I just want to say that Admiral Bradley's a hero, and he made all the other decisions after that. But I totally support him. I totally think he did the right thing. But it's Admiral Bradley. Yeah. Admiral Bradley is going to be a freaking sacrificial lamb. He's going to go to prison. He's going to lose his military career. The Navy SEALs that continued on with that, because Navy SEALs are very, very intelligent people. I'm telling you right now, Navy SEALs are people that will impress the hell out of anybody. Right. And they know better. So anybody who participated, Pete Hegseth and them are going to let them be the sacrificial lambs, and they're going to lose their careers over this.
So I have a question about the kind of mechanics of this particular kind of a strike, because none of this involved boots in the water, I guess would be the phrase of it. They were struck. It was a missile strike followed by a secondary missile strike. These are all, fire and forget kind of weapons where they are targeted, laser targeted on these things. And so I can see a level of plausible deniability in the people firing the weapons, because they're just getting coordinates. Fire, the fire order gets to them from this thing. I would argue that the people making the targeting in the on the bridge or in the weapons center, wherever they're firing the weapons from, or even the situation room, or whatever direction that comes from. These people know it's an illegal order to hit a boat with two people that are clinging to a busted boat. Those people know it, but the people pulling the trigger on the gun don't know what they're firing at. They just know they're supposed to launch this thing at this particular thing. It's need to know levels and capability of knowledge. That's the question that I have about how far they can pass this off. I think Hegseth was absolutely fucking there. And I think there's a very strong chance that a lot of people were around him were against this strike or whatever, but it was a presidential order from the Department of War. These are viewed as enemy combatants, and they are designated terrorists. We have hit terrorists before. They are not members of another army. They're not, technically they're, we've been through this with Al-Qaeda, so it shouldn't matter. But they'll use every possible legal wrangling that they possibly can, including the president can do anything he fucking wants, and therefore there are no illegal orders coming from the president, Nixon style. I feel like that's the defense. I don't think it's going to work, and I think since Trump's not, probably not long for this world, much less for this office, that when we take the House and very possibly the Senate next time, all these guys are looking down the barrel.
I honestly, because once again, they keep talking about the SEALs.
Yeah.
Look, let me tell you something. To me, what this could potentially be is the SEALs are in the area.
Right.
Because if it was the SEAL, because they keep saying it was the SEALs that carried out this mission. If the SEALs carried out that mission, then that means the SEALs were in that area. And once again, it's going to be very damning because you just can't, once you, and here's the thing too, drug boats. And this is what Rand Paul is talking about. And I can't stand Rand Paul, but let me tell you something. He's spot on with this.
Yep.
The normal boats, when you're talking about drug boats, cargo is the key.
Yeah.
Normally, when you have a drug boat that's delivering drugs, you have two people on the boat because the space on the boat is completely packed with as much drugs as they can put on these boats. Mm-hmm. This was a boat that had 11 people on it. So that doesn't really meet the smell test of a drug-running boat.
Right.
So, but once again, they're smacking boats out of the water that are literally 500 feet off the coast of Venezuela.
Right.
If a drug boat that come from Venezuela was coming to the United States of America, it would have to take 20 different fuel stops in order to make it to America.
Right. Yeah.
Now, we could track any of those boats. Coast Guard does this stuff. Mm-hmm. And the thing about it is that you should not be sinking anything until you know without a shadow of a doubt that it is a drug boat and it is coming to America. And you can't find that out 100 feet off of the shore of Venezuela. Right. So this is them basically just schwacking people and then taking credit and acting like they're badasses and beating their chest, saying, look, America's winning again. It's not the truth. What's happening is war crimes are being committed. And these are people that are going to find themselves in front of the friggin' Hague when all this is over. But here's the thing. The United States of the military, we have a thing called the military decision-making process.
Yeah.
And we go in there and we make a decision. And by the time we do operations, we have just second-guessed everything you could think of. Mm-hmm. We would know this is the line in the ocean that if any boats cross that we believe are drug boats, then they're crossing into our area. Right. But once again, before we go and blow people out of the water, because once again, a person that's walking around with drugs in his pocket doesn't deserve to be shot and killed.
Right.
But that's why we have the Coast Guard, and our Coast Guard are badasses. Mm-hmm. Make no mistake about it. You don't hear a lot about the Coast Guard.
They're way up to the job.
The Coast Guard is bad. Yeah. They are badasses. They would interdict those people before they made it onto our shore. And make no mistake about it, the last thing you want to do is raise your weapon to the Coast Guard because they will put you to the bottom of the friggin' ocean with ease. And I mean with ease. So this right here, them schwacking these boats and stuff, this is nothing more than Pete Hegseth and them trying to daggone act like they're badasses. And what they're doing is they're committing war crimes and they should be prosecuted for this.
Well, so, I mean, I completely agree. I do have one issue, and this is more like just my kind of nitpicky brain working at this, is that I don't believe that these groups are truly properly designated as terrorist groups, basically like subversive governmental organizations meant strictly to overtake, like the cartels don't want to run the United States as a narco state, nor would they try. They want access to the customer base, and they know that, like other areas, that if they took over, it would be a failed state and nobody'd have the money to buy the drugs, that they'd cut off their biggest supplier. So it makes no sense logically to think that they have political aims to take over the United States. They will occasionally threaten cops and other people. They will threaten law enforcement in South America and Central America all the fucking time. They will certainly wheedle their way into governments down there as a control point, or as to bribe their way through using corruption. But it's not the same thing as, Al-Qaeda or ISIS or Al-Shabaab or, any of these groups, or even Russia, looking at this kind of Ruska Mir idea where we're going to take over the world and everywhere our soldier puts his foot is Russian territory. That kind of idea. That's where terrorism is born. So my thing is that I don't even know if these are war crimes. They're just straight up fucking murder. To call it a war crime almost raises its gravitas. Weapons of war were used to do them, but that happens in school shootings. So I don't consider, the way you handle things to be, that I just don't look. I don't think it's a legitimate designation as a terrorist group. I think that's how he's getting away, using emergency powers and declaring people terrorists is his way of getting around the law. And so I don't view these straight as war crimes, more as petty crimes. Murder, depraved indifference. This is just Pete Hegseth murdering foreigners for sport.
But unfortunately, he's using the might of the United States military.
Right.
And because of that, any operations that are conducted by the United States military, we're held under the Geneva Convention. We're held under rules and regulations. We have rules of engagement that we must follow. And that's for every operation that we do. And, what this is and remember, and I want to say this, Admiral Alvin Hoseley. Mm-hmm. Admiral Alvin Hoseley was the admiral before Admiral Bradley. And Admiral Hoseley, he resigned.
Yeah.
And when he resigned, this is what he said: I cannot in good conscience authorize or execute orders that risk innocent lives and compromise the principles I swore to uphold. Right. When he says compromise the principles that I swore to uphold, he's talking about following the rules and regulations of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, the Geneva Convention. And he stepped away because he knew what they were requiring of him.
Yeah.
And he made the decision to say, look, you know what? If I stand up and fight these people, they're going to vilify me. They're going to try to take my career from me. So I'm going to go ahead and resign because this is what this is. But this tells you. Now you got Admiral Bradley stepping in there. And Admiral Bradley, who now is going to become the sacrificial lamb, he had to ask himself, it's no different than when they fired the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Brown, who was highly qualified, probably the best person to ever lead that position in terms of qualifications. But the guy that is now sitting in that seat is the guy that looked Donald Trump in the face, put on a MAGA cap and said, I love you. Yeah. And now that guy received his 4th star and is now the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Yeah. So, the thing is that these are people that are only getting these positions because they're willing to do whatever Donald Trump and his administration say. But once again, you better understand that just because Donald Trump is in power does not mean that you can do what you want when you want, because there are rules to everything. Mm-hmm. And these are people that are going to be held accountable. Pete Hegseth, he may be able to get away with this, but I'm going to tell you right now, he's going to be somebody that when this administration is over with, he's never going to be able to leave this country ever again. Right. Because if he goes anywhere, he's going to get arrested as soon as he gets off the damn plane, and they're going to send his ass to The Hague. And I'll tell you right now, if we take back power, we will.
Yeah, well, and the target that a lot of these people will have on their backs if they're going to travel anywhere. This is why Donald Trump's golf courses that he's making, he's basically phasing out any of the normal ones that aren't in the United States. Look forward to him selling his one in Scotland That's why he's selling. That's why he's boosting it up and talking about it so much, so he can offload it to somebody else later. Because the only places his golf courses and the people that are on them will be safe will be in highly authoritarian Middle Eastern countries
Yeah.
or places like
Saudi
that.
Arabia.
Right,
Yeah.
UAE, shit like that. Everywhere else, anybody who goes there will be either be a constant target for protest and vilification, or in danger because he has picked fights and murdered people blindly just to try to both wag the dog against the Epstein files and that kind of stuff. I want to so I personally think one of the saving graces of this circumstance is, and this goes to sort of like Rand Paul's feelings about this too, but he's not alone in this, and that there are a lot of Republicans out there. While I hate their kind of social ideas, and while I don't like the fact that they're constantly trying to undermine the safety net because ideologically they feel like it, makes people lazy or some shit like that, whatever their fixation is, I do know that a lot of them have a dream of their own legacy or a belief that they could reach a higher office. And to do that, and that these people, like Thune, I think, stands out as one of these people. They want to be president of the United States of America. They don't want to be president of Trumpistan. They want to be a Reagan or someone like that, which still is, they still look at the Constitution and our separation of powers, even if they're tiptoeing around it right now because Trump is in power and because the Supreme Court has emboldened him so much. They're tiptoeing around it, and they have to guarantee themselves a certain level of maggotry or they won't win in any race. So they have to win over his voter bloc that he has diluted or fed Kool-Aid to. But they still don't want us to become North Korea like Trump clearly does. They don't want Don Jr. or Eric to step in like the Uday and Kusei of this fucking administration. And so behind the scenes, that's what a lot of the kind of Mitch McConnell whispering that was going on, where they're waiting. They're waiting for their second bite at the fuck this guy apple. And the idea that we might, if we take the House and the Senate and impeachment starts to move forward, both on Hegseth for war crimes and what he's done, and therefore Trump for, because Trump, will say, well, I told him what to do. You're goddamn right I did, piggy. He'll say something along those lines, which will be an impeachable offense. And while I don't count on a mass of them to come to their senses about this, I think there's a very strong chances that, we gave Trump every possible out we could, and we're going to be the ones that participate in impeaching him, just like what happened with Nixon, because we're about principle, and they start building their legacy on burning him. And his poll numbers are what tell me that, because he's at 60% disapproval right now. He's like 36% approval rating, and 10% of those folks are just doing it for spite. They're still pissed. They're still watching fucking Candace Owens and all these assholes and raging at Trump behind the scenes, but they won't let you know. So if anybody calls and say, do you support the president? They'll go, you goddamn right I do. Click. This motherfucker's going to get me in trouble. That's what's happening. Yeah. And the Republicans know it too.
Yeah, look, Marge the Trainwreck Green has now pulled away. I mean, if you don't think MAGA is in free fall mode right now, you're not paying attention.
Right.
These people know that and the way you said it was really good. They want to be the president, but they don't want to be the president of North Korea.
Yeah.
And that's the path that Donald Trump wants us to be on, because that's the only path where Donald Trump gets away with everything and nobody touches him. That's the only way, and it's not going to work. I'm telling you right now, last night, everybody worked real hard to try to flip this seat from red to blue in deep Tennessee. But if in deep Tennessee they're fighting for seats to stay red in deep Tennessee, that means that all across this country, Republicans are in trouble. And we know that. We're seeing that. They may be able to hold on to power in West Virginia and Tennessee and Alabama and Mississippi. But make no mistake about it, there are people waking up every single day. There are people that are now realizing that Donald Trump said he was going to lower the prices of everything, and he hasn't lowered the prices of anything.
Right.
And people are struggling, and once again, as always, you're spot on.
I try.
You're spot on. I tell you, if your brain I don't know how it fits in your head, man. The way I look at it, if your brain was as big as I really believe it should be, it'd be like, heed, pants, no.
No, right. It's quite pointy in parts. It is true. Yeah, that's absolutely right. There are a couple of things. I pointed this out when he won the last time, and I put that in air quotes for all the people who think there was shenanigans, and I'm totally fine with that. But there were these two trains on the same track headed towards each other, and they're every fucking where. He promised everyone everything, has no idea how anything works, and thought that his tariff shit, for example, would be a magical solution for all of it. He said in that stupid fucking meeting, that they're bringing in trillions of dollars in tariff money, and that there's going to be this like dividend to the American people. Like he's going to pay the average American, $2,000 or some shit like that, and it's going to come
get a $5,000 Doge check, a $2,000. Right. Yeah.
No. And the funny part about that is that like the first people to yell bullshit were maggots and Republicans. Not we at this point we're like, yeah, whatever. There's another line of shit from this dude. But like they were the ones going, it's not gonna happen. He doesn't know what he's fucking talking about. Like they're the ones raging about it right now. Like that line. I'm trying to look up that little clip of it where Trump said affordability is a Democrat hoax. Yeah, this is the quote. Hold on, let me see if I can bring this up because Jesus Christ, this is him.
But our prices now for energy, but for gasoline are really low. Electricity's coming down, and when that comes down, everything comes down. But the word affordability is a Democrat scam. They say it, and then they go into the next subject, and everyone thinks, oh, they had lower prices. No, they had the worst inflation in the history of our country.
Okay, so anyways, never mind. We didn't have inflation. We had supply shock caused by COVID because the entire fucking world shut down. That's not monetary inflation. And if I don't want to hear anybody fucking talk to me about monetary inflation, which is what he thinks is going on, which is why he doesn't understand why the Fed doesn't want to lower interest rates to 2% or some shit and crash the fucking economy. Because there's not too much money in circulation. If anything, there's too fucking little. And but the maggots don't understand that, and they're gonna cry money printer goes burr if we do quantitative easing to help the American people, because right now the U.S. dollar is holding up at Argentina, it's holding up fucking Turkey, it's holding up like 6 African nations. Affordability is a Democrat scam, right along with the Epstein docs, and yeah, go ahead.
Let me say something here to a lot of people. If you've never ever heard of this, you need to research it. It's called the Patriotic Millionaires. Mm-hmm. There is a group of people that are millionaires that absolutely believe. Now they like having money, and there's nothing wrong with people who have money, but they know that if we continue down this path, the path that we have been on for decades, everything is going to crash. It's not just going to crash for the billionaires. It's going to crash for the millionaires too. So right now, there is a group of millionaires, and if you Google them and talk about Netflix, there's a Netflix documentary about them. But what they believe is that it's time that we now start holding the millionaires and the billionaires accountable. And they're millionaires. Right. They're saying, look, here's the deal. How about we say that after the first $1 million, you got to pay taxes on everything else that you got. For the millionaires. Yeah. Because think about that. If let's say I inherit it's my house. So let's say, I don't know, let's say somebody inherits their parents' home from them. They got to pay taxes on that. There's all kinds of things. You got to jump through a bunch of whistles and bells. But you do know that billionaires have things set up to where they inherit all of their money, all of their property, all of their structures, and it's basically free of cost. Yeah. So if we have to pay taxes on all the stuff that we have, then why shouldn't they have to pay taxes on all the stuff that they have? And that's something that I think that people can get behind. There's a couple things that I'm pushing. I want to push basically tying minimum wage to the cost of living. So as the cost of groceries goes up, minimum wage grows up. Yeah. So that no matter what, people that are working full time making minimum wage, then they can still keep their nose above the waterline. And oh, by the way, if we tied minimum wage to the cost of living, minimum wage would be $26 right now. It's $7.25 in North Carolina. There's another thing we want to do, and that is make the first $45,000 of that you make every year tax-free. Mm-hmm. So if all you make is $45,000 a year, you don't pay no taxes. You know, we're going to make the millionaires and the billionaires pay their fair share. We're going to remove the cap on Social Security. We're going to end Citizens United. We're going to start holding these people accountable. And if you don't like it, then you can leave. I don't give a shit, but you don't need to be in this country making billions upon billions of dollars on the back of our working class citizens and then think that you could just be like, well, I don't give a shit. I pay them a small amount, and because what they want is they want to pay you the least amount possible and keep your nose on the grind to where you don't get the opportunity to look up and see that they're buying their sixth yacht, their third mansion, and once again,
their carve outs on all the tariffs. Their carve outs on on all the tariffs for those kind of rich purchases, and he's like full like you could full write off anything you view as business equipment, which means if you take people out on your yacht because you're the fucking Wolf of Wall Street, that's a business expense. That whole fucking boat can now be expensed under Trump's tax plan. So. Here's what I would say. I think there should be, and because farms can have, because of the size of the land and the operation, can have a viewable worth of like $2 million to $3 million, even if they are just getting by a hair's breadth, right? That's the value of the land and the infrastructure and all this stuff around it. So how about this? Anything under $2 million and anything under $3 million with a farm attached to it, there is no inheritance tax. Anybody, because it's an out of the realm number for most people anyways. Like, holy shit, 2 million. If only my parents had 2 million to leave me. But that is the barrier of entry for so many people from the lower middle class to the middle class into financial security forever. And that's why, McCain caught shit for this when he said it. But they said, "What's rich? How do you find rich?" And he said $5 million. I think most of us would view $1 million as rich, depending on where you live. So, if you live in Arkansas, $1 million is worth $3 million in Beverly Hills, like that kind of idea, right? There's relative aspect to it. But what he meant from that, and where he got that number from, was that was the number wherein by financial holdings, money savings, property, and investments, you could live off the dividends and never look back. That even if you, at $5 million, if you lost half of it, you'd still be fine forever and be able to put all your kids through school and your grandkids through school and all that kind of stuff. That's what he meant by rich. Rich is never looking back. Right? That's not what you could live like, because I think most of us with, if you look at it like $500,000 a year for most people, they'd be like, holy shit, But what he means is once you've established that $5 million line, you never have to fall behind it. And why is that? Because that from 2 million to 3 million, above that initial $2 million to the 5, that's a small business that becomes a major entity. That's when you go from Dick's Sporting Goods to Dick's Sporting Goods. That's when you go from the Bass Pro Shop to Bass Pro Shops. That's that window. And that's where the crab bucket gets shaken by the rich, by the Trumps of the world. They make sure that people in that window who are nipping at their heels, who have great ideas and stuff, can't get the financial security to leverage property and start their own factory and all that kind of shit. And so they shake that fucking bucket and they take everybody who's getting close to that $5 million line for all their businesses, all their holdings, all their homes and everything, and make sure that they fall back down so that they can never compete with the 10 million and the 50 million and the 100 million and the billionaires. The billionaires want to make sure that anybody who's near that $5 million line, and most of us, that's a huge line for us. Like, holy shit, if I could one day get a nest egg worth that, oh my God. But there's lots of people in that window, and they all get wrecked on the regular by the billionaire class. More than, we're pretty good state to state, city to city, there's differences. Obviously, Louisiana doesn't give a fuck, but California does, about taking care of people with SNAP benefits and those kind of things and making sure that's there. But where the rung is fucked and where the middle class gets screwed is in the middle of the ladder, where they're just sawing out the fucking rungs to make sure you never, no matter how bright you are, no matter what school you went to, no matter what you did, you can't get the financial ability to compete with the Don Juniors and the Erics of the world, and they make sure it doesn't happen.
Yeah, and for the people, what you just said really, to me, reminds me of the coal industry.
Yeah.
Where literally they want to keep you, they want to work you until you can no longer physically work anymore, and then they want to replace you with that brand new graduating senior that just walked across the stage, and they want to bring him in and put him right to work, and then kick you to the curb, and make sure that if they kick you to the curb, they make sure that you're not able to get the benefits that you worked for many years.
Fuck, they'll be like in the coal mines. If you had a better idea about how to, mine the coal, or you came to them with like, how about we do this, and you weren't part of the sort of management families, if you weren't a member of those families in the area, they'd beat the fuck out of you. They literally beat you up back in the day.
I have watched countless, and remember, I grew up in southern West Virginia. When I retired from the military, I went back there for 8 years. I am telling you that windmills, solar panels. I mean, I'm talking about people literally ready to throw punches for anybody who just says, I'm thinking about getting solar.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you're going after our job, because that's what the coal operators tell those coal miners and their families. If you allow for wind to come to West Virginia and they put windmills on the top of those mountains, which, by the way, would be phenomenal, because once again, they've already cut the tops of all the mountains off.
Right.
So why not go ahead and put windmills there and help lower the cost of energy? But they don't want that. They don't want that. They tell everybody that you've got coal is the only thing that we can do.
Right.
And that's as good as it gets, because they're the ones that are making the money because of it. And the things that they do, I've watched coal mines when the coal seam starts to look like there's nothing left. The daggone coal operators will file for bankruptcy and will leave like a thief in the night. Most cases, not even pay their workers for the time that they worked that month. And that happened in Harlan County, Kentucky. You remember that, where the coal miners stood on the daggone rail lines and said, you're not going to get nothing in here to get what's laying in those piles of coal, because you owe us our damn salaries. And the guy that did that, he ended up leaving Kentucky like a thief in the night, and right now he is building a resort in Barboursville, West Virginia, that's going to be bigger than the Greenbrier. But this guy is the guy who stood up all those workers and stabbed every one of them in the back. He just gets to jump over to West Virginia and continue to be the rich asshole he is.
Specifically with a Republican federal bailout, with funds from the federal government to protect the coal industry years ago. I want to say his thing happened under Bush too, but like it's ongoing. Okay, so there's there are areas where I think I'm batting 98% right now, and as far as being right about shit. And one of the things that I brought up, and this kind of goes in line with our kind of coal conversation, is that I said last year that it does not matter who wins the election, gas prices are going to go down, because there's going to be an oil glut. There is too much oil being produced because China is not growing the way they said it was. Like I said, it wasn't. It's not happening, and it's never going to happen. So all those wells they drilled for this market that they were like, oh man, here it comes, those aren't showing up. And Saudi Arabia is effectively oil poor. They are out of oil. They're cash poor right now. Remember when they were rounding up, the far cousins of the Saudi family and taking their money and throwing them in jail and stuff for overspending and stuff, because they're going to become a tourist and tech nation. Right now they're doing FinSec, golf, and fucking F1 and crypto. That's how they're going to, they think they're going to be an island of that in the Middle East. And by the way, it's going to eat shit, because nobody needs to go to fucking Vegas if it's run by the Westboro Baptist Church that looks like shit and is 120 degrees at 2 o'clock in the morning. So, and where slavery currently keeps the fucking place running right now. Right now.
Yes.
There,
Yes.
the UAE and like Dubai and all those areas are completely kept afloat by slavery. All that money, all that shit, and they can't even pay their workers, much less a fucking minimum wage. They are slaves.
Yes, I'm so glad that you said that because I have witnessed that firsthand. You know, I've been to Kuwait, I've been to Jordan. Jordan not so much that I saw, but I'm talking about like Qatar, places like
Yep.
that. I'm gonna tell you that when you go into those cities, it is amazing because it is absolutely like it is just as clean as you've ever seen. But about 5 miles down the road, you have this big, huge
Work camp.
tent city,
Yeah.
or small little trailers. And what that is, and I'm going to tell you right now, it is filled with those third country nationals coming from Pakistan and India and places like that. And these people live in conditions that you would not even begin to imagine. I'm talking about you walk in, let's say you walk into a trailer and there's no walls. It's just it looks like just a Connex. And there's nothing in there.
Yeah.
And everybody at nighttime lays shoulder to shoulder in the bed, not a bed. They lay on the floor on these little mats. And like their bathrooms, I'm telling you, I've walked into their bathrooms before. There's nothing. I mean, there's just a hole in the ground. I mean, and this is how, when we were in Iraq, our country did this too. The military industrial complex, Halliburton and Brown and Root, they did the same thing. They hired these people. They were paying people $1 a day.
Right.
And they were living in horrible conditions and stuff. They were literally fishing every day. The people that wasn't working, they were out there fishing in the canals and stuff, trying to put something on the table that they get to eat. But I mean, this stuff you're absolutely right. Slavery is absolutely alive and well in places like the Middle East.
Yeah. And like, we'll talk a little bit about what's going on in Sudan too, because I also think you're somebody who could understand kind of where that's going. And I know I only got you for a couple more minutes, but the reason I brought this up, let me see if I can bring this up right here. Here you go. I said this last year. This is December 5th, 2025 right here. This is the article. This is from marketplace.org. There's a glut of oil. Here's why. Here's Market Watch. Why oil producers are adding to global supply glut despite low crude prices. Because they don't have a fucking choice. That's why. These are resource-based economies. They cranked these wells to get them running for this market that never emerged. And even with Russian oil being cut out of the world market, even with war in the Middle East, even with the Saudis basically running dry, even with Venezuela, there's basically being an embargo around Venezuelan oil right now because our ships are blockading their, the area to keep Russian ships getting Venezuelan oil and taking it out of there. The price is still going down.
It's about oil.
It's all, yeah. But the price is taking a giant shit. And this is supply and demand. Why? If supply is up, it's because the demand is not there. Because the world has moved on. Biden said last year that the electrifying of cars that ship has sailed. That's going to happen. It's going to happen everywhere. It's happening all over the world. It's happening in all emerging markets. Because why would they leave? Why would you put a gas infrastructure in a country like India, in areas where they're impoverished, when you can just have electric vehicles and battery systems because they already have electricity? You just build more power plants, and then you don't have to have a fucking gas well dug every 3 miles.
And that's exactly why they keep trying to act like, the coal industry isn't on its way out. It is
Right.
on its way out.
Yep.
And you're from Eastern Kentucky. I'm from Southern West Virginia. We grew up in coal fields.
Yep.
And the truth is that, you know what? You got to be upfront and honest with these people. It's not something that we're going to be using very much longer. But, people are still, to me, it breaks my heart when I see those young high school graduates walking right into that damn mine because they don't even realize that you're probably not even going to make it to retirement before they cut ties with you.
Right.
And then you're going to be a 40-year-old man walking around with an oxygen tank. Oh, by the way, Donald Trump's administration just killed the capability that allows for coal miners to file for black lung.
Yeah.
So let that sink in. Now, these coal operators, they don't give a shit if you wear your respirator or not now. They don't care because it's on you. And you're not going to wear it because you don't like the feel of it on your face. But once again, when you are in your 30s and you're walking around with an oxygen tank
and a fucking
and you can
cane,
no longer work anymore. And I have helped people.
Yes.
I have helped people as a state senator. I have helped people elevate their issues up to the national level of people that were basically trying to get their benefits years after they no longer are able to work in the coal industry. And the coal industry does everything in their power to make sure that you have to jump through every hoop possible before you get a single penny from those people.
So I appreciate you being on here. I want to remind everybody to check out ojedifornc.com. Get your Jackaloon merch and other stuff. Support the campaign. On that, let me know when that filing day where you're going to have people around, and if I could, by hook or by crook, if I can make it down there, I'll stand on a street corner for you, man.
I think we're going to do it on the 13th. I think the 13th is the day we're planning, but I'll confirm that with you.
Yeah.
But dude, let me tell you something. I love that you come down here and go around with me, man. I'll drive you everywhere, man. And
love to see it.
I'd always enjoy it, brother. Brother, I appreciate you, man. I love this show. I miss this show. Mm-hmm. This show right here. Anybody that is listening to this show, every time you check out for the day, when you're done, everybody walks away knowing more than they did when they tuned in earlier that day. So I'm telling you right now, I love it. I love being on the show. I love you dearly, man. You are a great fighter. You are what rights looks like, brother. I'm just so glad that I can say that you and me are friends. It means the world to me, brother.
Yeah, right back at you. I on the way out the door, I want to ask you just a minute of Putin has rejected the Ukraine peace deal like within 5 hours of meeting with Witkoff. It's funny because I found two stories. This is let's see if I can do this one. Yeah, here. Putin rejects Ukraine peace deal. This still has the byline from March because even though it's from December 3rd, because it's an update to the last time he fucking did it. Same thing, same plan. By the way, this is the Biden plan as well. Like there's only a couple of ways to do this. You're either gonna either Russia fucks off or you're splitting the baby, and nobody likes splitting the baby part. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, now we know because even Marco Rubio admitted that the peace plan from Donald Trump was literally nothing more than, here is verbatim from Vladimir Putin.
Right.
I mean, first off, the world begged Putin to not invade the sovereign nation. He built up troops on the border and then he crossed over. They've lost almost 1.2 million Russians to date. And once again, right now Putin is saying, well, we want to keep all the land that we've gotten. We're talking, we want Crimea and all that stuff. And then we want to keep all the stuff that we have now.
Right.
And this isn't going to stop Putin.
He wants,
if anything,
he wants he's technically in their negotiations. He wants all of the Donbass, even areas they have not won yet. He wants what was designated as the Donetsk and Luhansk and the whole Donbass region all the way down to Crimea. They don't even own like 2/3 of it. They're just, let's just assume we win it. Well, how about fuck no? Because you've lost a 1.2 million. No, the assumption you're going to be able to keep this shit up is ridiculous.
Yeah, this is nothing but saying, hey, we want you guys to give us everything that we want. And once again, it doesn't mean that in 6 months he doesn't go back and say, well, we want more now. And then, of course, with Donald Trump at the helm, well, Donald Trump will say, well, we'll try to get you more there, Vladdy Daddy.
Yeah. We'll get everybody to stand down for a little while, like a ceasefire, so the world forgets about it for a second, and then Russia can do a flash attack and take a big chunk of land and continue salami slicing their way across fucking Europe.
They did it in 2014.
With Trump at the helm of the United States, we all owe Chamberlain an apology at this point because dude is going for the crown. Appreciate you being with me, brother. It means a lot, and I look forward to seeing you again. And thank you so much for being here. Yeah.
Let me tell you, you keep those ideas up, because I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna win this race. I'm busting my ass. I'm gonna do everything in my power to flip this seat from red to blue. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I'd love to invite you to Washington D.C. to sit down with me and legislative folks
Please.
to draft up some legislation. Because
I'm in.
once again, let me tell you, I'm going to Washington D.C. because I want to push legislation. I don't want to go there and get sound bites arguing with Boebert and MTG.
Right.
I want to push legislation. And let me tell you something. We're going to take back the House. I think we may even have a good opportunity to take back the Senate.
Agreed.
When we win this, I don't want to see Democrats dragging their damn feet. I'm saying when we win this, we got the majority. Let's go ahead and push. We're going to kill Citizens United. We're going to go after right to work legislation. Let's kill it all when we have the power. I don't want to hear no Democrat going, but hold on now.
Yeah.
No dragging of the feet. We're going to take this country back. We're going to put checks and balances back in place. We're going to create a presidential crime commission to make sure when a president is in office, if they break the law, they can be held accountable, prosecuted, and removed. And that's what needs to happen.
As the chief law enforcement officer of the United States of America, they should hold the highest standard, not be able to circumvent the law like the mayor's fucking kid in some southern town. Agreed. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, brother. I'll see you again very soon.
Airborne.
All right.
Thanks,
cheers. There he goes. Ladies and gentlemen, the Major. I got to say, like, as he starts getting really nice to me again, I start getting weepy. So I'm I gotta hang up soon because I've got to, like, yeah. Okay, so I want to cover a couple more stories, if I may, including this rejection of the peace deal part of it. And I think I have, yeah. Let's go through a couple of stories because I've got this hour is just the two of us. Where is it? Okay, that's not it. Yeah, here it is. This is, I think, the key story of our times, though. Thank you very much, Smarty Pants. I appreciate that. This is. I mean, with all the stuff going on in the world, we've got to deal with this story unafraid. Now get out of here with your silly ad. Here it is. Drunk raccoon found passed out in liquor store bathroom after raiding shelves. I'm assuming this is some sort of code. But there he is. There's the drunk raccoon. He lapped up a bunch of alcohol and then he passed out in the can. The only thing that would be better if he was actually just like on the seat, just going, dude, give me a minute. A raccoon broke into a liquor store by falling through the ceiling, got into the bottles, and then passed out in the bathroom. The animal created havoc at an ABC in Ashland, Virginia on Saturday, smashing up multiple bottles of liquor, which then it drank up. In a statement on Facebook, the shelter said the officer discovered the suspect had broken in, ransacked several shelves, and then passed out in the bathroom. The suspect, a very intoxicated raccoon. I have to say, he looks like somebody's hat that they left behind. But there is, I will say, that's a lot of liquor. They just like drinking up all of that stuff. So hold on a second. I think there's there we go. We needed to get that story out in the open, everybody. Daniel Boone was there and he dropped his hat. Okay. Let's go through a couple stories. I am enjoying the fallout from this this jacket story, where Kash Patel, for those of you that haven't been following along, Kash Patel, when he arrived at the Charlie Kirk murder scene, landed in the airplane and refused to get off the FBI airplane unless he was given an FBI raid jacket, meaning that he was a participant in a raid, which he was absolutely not. And when they finally got him one that fit, it was a ladies' medium. And then it didn't have any macho patches on the sleeves because those are earned. So he made members of the SWAT team basically give him patches off of their uniforms that they'd earned by putting their lives in danger and put them on his jacket so he could look fucking macho at a press conference he had nothing to fucking do with. This is I guess this is him on there's going to be an ad, isn't there? Yeah, there is. Sorry. Big red ad of something. But lashed out at a group of active duty retired agents who compiled a dossier blasting his dismal leadership. I'm going to see if I can find that dossier once it is released.
Clarify contracts
Look
with
out.
AI
It's
assistant.
not an ad. I don't.
Understand key terms
nothing.
in
It's an ad
seconds.
playing. I'm sorry.
And review
not a-
contracts real
No.
quick.
Real quick.
So now you can stress a little less.
Real wrong. No.
With easy
A little.
reviewing, easy sharing, and easy signing. It's that
It's
simple.
never. Your identity theft has never been easier.
Adobe Acrobat.
The jazz.
You mentioned the thing about the patches and the
Sorry. Just so you know, Laura was not enjoying having Miranda Devine on her on her show yesterday. So this is pretty sweet.
gossipy stuff, which I know you laughed it off on Twitter, but on X. But they're saying, oh, he refused to get off the plane in Utah after Charlie Kirk's assassination because he wanted a better fitting FBI raid jacket. Is that true? And
Hey, fucko. No. He doesn't deserve a raid jacket at all. He wasn't raiding shit.
does fashion really make the man, Cash?
It's 100% false. As you know, look, Laura, sadly, I was at 9/11 at Ground Zero in New York City on 9/11 because I was a White House representative honoring those victims and their names being read. You were very
You also hung around and had dinner in New York before flying there. Before flying to Utah.
familiar with that. Then we made the immediate decision after Charlie got shot in the neck to fly to Utah unexpectedly.
Yeah, the decision was made to fly there. The flight happened after dinner.
To lead the manhunt to find the perpetrator in less than 33 hours.
Lead the manhunt. Get the fuck out of here. Again, this is Jim. I got to fly in to airdrop onto the crime scene, pick up some of the gravel on the roof. He went that way.
Because the FBI cut video, put it out in a press conference, and these people are worried about what I was wearing and what patches I was wearing.
No, they're not worried about it. We're laughing at you. It's not the big problem. It's the pimple on the middle of your fucking cheek, right under your eye, that everybody's staring at. That's indicative of ill health. It's way beyond just acne. You know, it's embarrassing and it's gross, but it wouldn't be if it was just that.
I was honoring my men and women at the FBI. One
By cross-dressing.
of my agents handed me a jacket and said, "Hey, boss, you should probably wear this. We're going."
Why did you have sweaty pits? Hey, boss, you better wear this.
to the command center.
They don't call you Madam Director. I would fire that person for being, insufficiently loyal.
That I'd be honored to wear that. And then another one handed me the SWAT team badge of the unit that was protecting the area where Charlie was assassinated. I wore that with pride.
While you pretended to be a member of said team.
These people can talk about my...
By the way, jacket story is 100% false. No, it isn't. You showed up without a jacket. You wore a jacket of a unit you didn't belong to. You insisted on a patch, and you're pretending it was everybody else's idea. So you're blaming the staff for this embarrassing situation you were in.
appearances all they want, but look at the results. The FBI...
All day Juan. Not a stag film. You didn't have a suit jacket as the director of the FBI? No? Oops, sorry. I don't know why this doesn't...
This FBI, my FBI, the one that Dan and I are building here under
You're building the FBI.
President Trump, is succeeding in ways that no FBI has ever done so before.
Yes, especially in wardrobe.
So the institutionalists and the anonymous reporters from the swamp D.C. bureaucracy are the ones we are crushing.
Anonymous reporters. Okay, so what they're saying is true.
And that's how I know we're winning. And if Eric Swalwell wants to come online and talk about what jacket size I wear, I'm happy to send him a women's medium so him and Fang Fang.
Ow, damn. Why don't you just release the files on Swalwell and Fang Fang, and how the FBI notified him that this woman was trying to infiltrate his campaign, and he rejected her and told her to fuck off, and then she went back to China and basically disappeared. Do that, and then recognize at the same time the Chinese woman who came to Mar-a-Lago and was able to walk around all she wanted, and the lady who ran the rub and tug that Kraft got busted at, getting pictures with all those with Don Jr. and Don and everybody at Mar-a-Lago, and then of course Yashishin, the woman who pretended to be a Rothschild that got pictures with Trump and Giuliani. Anybody? No? But release all the documents on all those notifications the FBI gave to these people to say, hey, this person may be a spy, and then I want to see their correspondence about it. So, anyways, the FBI judge, Patel refused to disembark until the agents were busy trying to find Kirk's killer had tracked down a size medium FBI raid jacket for him to wear. Again, the part that really wrecks this is that he insisted that it was a raid jacket. It wasn't just find me an FBI patch or a badge or something to put on my suit, which is like his little fake badge he insists on wearing, right? I want to find that. Where is it? Is it over here? Trying to find the actual documents for the, let's see, dossier on Kash Patel Congress text, maybe. Speeches and testimony, federal FBI oversight, part 1 on Kash Patel, September 16th, produced by Stephen. Nope. Okay, there's a new 115-page internal dossier for the points a picture of this. All right, let's see. I'm going to see if this one comes up, if the details are actually in there. Nope. Agent says Patel is so obsessed with his image, he refused to get off the plane. We've seen that part of the story. Agents called Bongholio something of a clown who spends more time on social media than running the bureau. Both men are described as resume builders with no idea how to handle national security threats. Yeah, I'm trying to find, I want to find if anybody has a link to that. I want the dossier. I need the dossier. Here's bombshell dossier. Yeah. This is the Keystone Cash tantrum exposed in bombshell dossier on his fucked up FBI. Sources describe Patel in particular as insecure and in over his head, with neither the breadth of experience nor the bearing an FBI director needs to be successful. Also, he's a big fucking dum-dum, I think, is part of what they said. Report comes days after then, deny rumors he's planning to fire Patel by sharing too much information too soon and losing it during a Senate committee hearing in September. He didn't lose it. He was playing Trump. Patel apparently didn't have his own FBI raid jacket with him. Yeah, we heard this. 115-page dossier. Where is it? Oh, I don't have a thing. Oh, hold on. Shit. Let's go back to here. I think I do. Maybe I do. Let me see. Let's see. Hold on. Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah. Oh. Is that egg bitesages? Thank you. Aw. Summer brought me provisions. Thanks, babe. So, you what?
I thought you were saying to me.
No, I'm just saying in general because I've got brain fade. All right, I'm going to, let's see. We'll go to this. Everybody's saying you're very sweet, which of course I know. Okay, get it in this, and then this and this. Okay. Agree. All right. Now, yeah, here it is. Download the document. Come on. Allow. There we go. So now we have it. Ooh, I like this. A la.
Somebody followed me.
Huh? Aw. Yeah, hold on one second.
Somebody followed me.
I've had complaints lately that I've had,
Well, yeah.
I haven't had enough cats. Hi, buddy. Hi, the boy. How's it, the boy? How's it, my boy? You just could not be more relaxed as a cat. It's pretty great. Yeah. How are you? What's doing, buddy? This is Bucky, everybody. Everybody, Bucky, everybody. Kitty. Yes. Was he napping or did he just follow
No,
you?
he came down the stairs. He
Oh,
was
yeah.
just following me.
He's just like, this is like sleeping time. Are you guys gonna be? Can you sit down and start working so I can sit on your lap or on your computer so that I can just hanging out, just laying there. That's what he did. Yep. Aw. Yeah, he's a sweetie. Yeah. You want to just hang out here, Bucky? Shit. I think I can operate this. At some point, I'm going to need a voice-controlled computer just so I can go page up, page it down. It's a boy. It's a boy. Yeah. I'm going to hand you back off to Mama. Yeah. And and you can go sit on her and keep her from working. That's what you can do. This is good. Aw. This is a boy. It's such a baby transfer. That's so easy. He's just like, you just like hand him over. He's like, whatever. Whatevs. I'm hanging out. But little toe beans. And his claws sticking out, too.
I know, we need to trim this.
We need to trim them because they don't retract all the way. He's a panther. It's very scary. Look at Sweetie. He's just watching. He's watching the chat go by. He's looking at the emotes as they go by. Yeah. Oh, buddy.
He's getting heavy.
Yeah, he is. He's a substantial cat.
Yeah, he's pretty solid.
Yeah.
You're a heavy boy.
Mm-hmm. He's gonna run the house, clearly. Okay, all right. I have to get back for it. I only got so much to it.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah, you ready to go upstairs? He's in Summer's arms right now, just like, whoa, this is great. This is really awesome. Okay. This would be, yeah, this is the problem that they have with this. This is why they're having a hard time refuting it. It's because these guys open with Trump derangement syndrome is alive and well, meaning that there are members of the rank and file FBI or people who just don't fucking like Trump, period, end of story. But the demoralization of Jan 6 pardons, that this has fucked up the FBI because they did all this fucking work. They looked at the videos of these dickheads attacking everybody, left, right, and center. And then he just pardons them blanketly. Some of them they've had to rearrest for, for violence against children. The clear and present politicization of the FBI. I nailed politicization, didn't I? Especially with a tongue my size. It's no easy feat. FBI employee morale still trending downward. The FBI director's culture of fear and paralysis. The FBI director and deputy director's lack of experience. FBI leadership's unfortunate obsession with social media. Anger and frustration over orders to assist ICE. Diversity, equity, inclusion, no more. Because these guys are against DEI, and so this is something they think is good. Mixed opinions on the progress to reform the FBI. The email signature block hypocrisy. Punitive polygraph examinations. This is when they were going after people for being insufficiently loyal to Trump and all that shit. The search for medium-sized FBI raid jacket, which had to stand out. Notable incidents. The search for a medium-sized FBI raid jacket. The source that started it all, request for information, here's all these things. And these are all the people, or let's see, these are report dates from all these sources. And appendix, and here's the example. Less than 4 months into the tenure of FBI Director Kash Patel, concerning anecdotal reporting about the FBI under his leadership was received by a national alliance of retired and active duty FBI special agents and analysts. The information prompted researchers and authors of this report to take a pulse check on the FBI to look independently for indications that Director Patel was, in fact, living up to expectations to effectively lead and reform the FBI. That's hilarious. The preliminary findings The preliminary findings were discouraging. No shit. Okay. The information prompted research and authors of this report to take a pulse check. Okay. Preliminary findings. Reliable, high-quality anecdotal reporting was collected from a total of 24 trusted sources and subsources located throughout various quadrants of the country. Many of the sources and subsources were employed by the FBI, and a methodical, line-by-line analysis of their reports, representing a snapshot taken during a recent 30-day period, revealed a troubling picture of a chronically underperforming agency debilitated by low confidence in FBI leadership based on lack of prior experience, a historically toxic culture of fear and operational paralysis, and deep-seated internal partisanship characterized by the authors of this report as potentially self-destructive because the partisan divide extends throughout all levels and divisions of the FBI workforce, from the FBI director who previously campaigned for the president as a vocal critic of the FBI to left-leaning factions embedded within the ranks of the FBI that have been reported to exhibit signs and symptoms of Trump derangement syndrome, which, by the way, I would argue Trump's derangement syndrome does indeed exist. It only applies to people who you'd have to be fucking deranged to vote for this motherfucker. Normally I don't eat on stream, but Summer brought me food, so. Okay. Where's the page? Okay, it's page 6. 10 key findings. And by the way, nice use of colors. I feel like one of the things that's still alive and well at the sort of openness at the FBI. I mean, look. Never be afraid to show a little color. I think that's good. All right. So where are we? Page highlighting strong and persistent objections to President Trump's January 2025 executive order granting pardons and commutation of sentences for certain offenses relating to the events at or near the United States Capitol. Probably included himself in that shit, or probably Bannon and all those guys as well. A subsource who was an FBI employee reported she is demoralized the president pardoned those rightfully convicted for their role in J6. The FBI employee said she did his or her job and performed honorably within all FBI guidelines and the laws of the United States, adding they live in fear for their family because he believed that those who are pardoned or otherwise support insurrectionist ideology will target them, their family. Another source independently reported FBI special agents are upset about the list of FBI personnel who worked on the Jan 6 investigations, and the source reported FBI special agents on those lists were just following orders to investigate J6 cases. There we go. Key finding number 3, clear and present politicization. Okay, we know this. FBI employee morale still trending downward. Not surprising. FBI director's culture of fear. Here you go. This would be the thing that stands out. Reporting from multiple sources describes an organization internally paralyzed by fear. I'm going to see if I can. Does this blow up? No. Son of a bitch. Okay. One source reported FBI Director Kash Patel has been characterized as very personable and likable, but the source also indicated the director has nevertheless created a culture of mistrust and uncertainty among the ranks, partly due to some terrible things Director Patel said about the FBI before he was nominated for the position of FBI Director, and many Bureau employees took that personally. The sources went on to report that feeling of uncertainty at the FBI that the source noted did not exist before is the result of how the FBI handled the firings of a significant number of FBI HQ and FBI field office managers. The source acknowledged some FBI managers needed to be fired, but some of them, according to the source, were in their minds just following lawful orders. Reporting from another source revealed that since Kash Patel began his role at the as the FBI's new director, FBI leaders are just keeping their heads down and are afraid to say anything or do something wrong because they do not want to be terminated from employment. Reporting from, a third source reported FBI personnel, predominantly those members of FBI management, are afraid of losing their jobs and are making operational decisions based on that fear. While another source independently reported FBI leadership at all levels is paralyzed, meaning FBI managers are waiting for the FBI director to tell them specifically what to do, and many FBI employees are not doing anything because they are waiting on directions from the director. A fifth source reported FBI special agents trying to do the right thing are seeking an economic off-ramp. And the source went on to say that they had never had a job where they dread going to work due to the uncertain work environment and little to no top cover from the FBI leadership. The source added, everyone at the FBI is on pins and needles, and what they are required to do next, about what they are required to do next, who will get fired, and who will get reassigned for non-specific reasons. Lack of experience. We all know this. This is the part that I think is also standing out. The FBI leadership's unfortunate, and also this is not a matter of fortune. This is Trump hired these fuckwads. Unfortunate obsession with social media. Well, fish rots from the head, I guess. Despite receiving no specific request to provide feedback on the issue, multiple sources, like this is just people were like, and by the way, multiple sources volunteered their comments, assessed as skewing negative, regarding the frequent use of social media by FBI Director Kash Patel and FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongholio, with one source reported saying, enough is enough. Both the FBI Director and the FBI Deputy Director, the source reported, need to stop talking, stop posting, and just be professional. Another source reported that under FBI Director Kash Patel and FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongholio, employees rarely hear directly from them in a transparent manner to explain why certain things are being changed or why the FBI is taking a different direction, and that their FBI coworkers hear more news about the FBI's mission and operations from news sources and from tweets posted on social media by Patel and Bongholio. The third source said FBI employees received most of their news about the FBI from social media content posted by FBI Director Kash Patel and Bongholio. FBI employees should be receiving messages from leadership with more clarity on official, unclassified, and classified systems. Describing leadership at the FBI as dismal, another source independently reported, leaders of the FBI field offices up to the director are spending too much time on social media and public relations and are too often concerned about building their own personal resumes. And orders to assist ICE, obviously, which is not their job. There are strong opinions shared by multiple sources praising the removal of DEI initiatives and programs from the FBI, with one source reporting that before their role, there was an overemphasis on DEI initiatives to the exclusion of doing actual work, and that some FBI personnel felt feelings mattered more than casework, and certain DEI groups were catered to and used their status and special interest groups to shield them from doing work. Some FBI leaders were afraid of holding FBI employees in these special interest groups accountable when they didn't do their assigned work because the FBI leaders were afraid of being labeled as racist or obstructive. This happens everywhere. That's why it's collapsed in corporate America as well. Mixed opinions on progress. We like the lack of DEI, but we're sick to fucking shit of these guys posting stuff all the time and not being able to do their jobs. And we're worried about a giant terrorist event that will get everybody killed. And then this is the notable events. Email signature block hypocrisy. Okay. To provide additional insight into the management and leadership style of FBI Director Kash Patel, the following three notable incidents set forth below is reported independently by three separate sources. As with all the source reporting provided here, the following three source reports were reviewed independently and re-reviewed in direct consultation with each of their respective reporting persons to ensure the accuracy of the information provided. So fuck you, Laura Ingraham, for saying that they were and Meg Kelly, I think we saw Meg Kelly yesterday say that, these are anonymous people and it's probably deep state Biden lovers or some shit like that. Not at all. And he gets to go on and lie to the American people that he wasn't doing this. Now, granted, I doubt, Kash Patel shouldn't have to admit that he was cross-dressing any more than Hoover did. Okay, so email signature block hypocrisy. On September 11th, 2025, the reporting person, codenamed Romeo Papa 139, an attorney and corporate security executive working for a multinational conglomerate who previously served for more than 20 years as an FBI special agent, an FBI supervisory agent, and an FBI field office located in a large metropolitan eastern United States area, provided the following information obtained firsthand from a human source. Alpha 16 has served for more than 15 years as an FBI special agent and an FBI supervisory special agent in an FBI field office located in a large metropolitan city in the eastern United States. Romeo Papa 139 has known Alpha 16 for about a decade and assessed Alpha 16 as being a hard worker, knowledgeable, and well respected by their peers at the FBI. Romeo Papa further described Alpha 16 as reliable, trustworthy, and competent. Okay. Alpha 16 reported that all FBI employees received an email from FBI Director Kash Patel a few weeks ago, circa August 2025, regarding email signature blocks. Alpha 16 said that FBI Director Kash Patel in his email to all FBI employees ordered the following. Email signature blocks are not to have any pronouns or messages of any kind, EQ quotes, inspirational messages. Director Patel, according to his Alpha 16, also ordered the same font to be used and only one color, black. Failure to follow these orders, said, would result in disciplinary guidance. Sounds naughty. Just say it. However, Alpha 16 reported that FBI Director Kash Patel's own email signature block included number 9, which FBI personnel interpreted as signifying his history as the FBI's 9th director. Said FBI personnel in the office laughed at what was perceived as hypocrisy on the part of him. Like, you're not allowed to put anything in there, but he puts in his number 9 like he's dunking on people. And also, again, borrowing the uniform of people in a position he never served in. Punitive polygraph explanations on personnel. I should throw an extra P in there just for the alliteration. On September 15, 2025, the reporting person, codenamed Romeo Papa 127, a veteran of the FBI who served for more than 20 years as an FBI special agent, led complex investigations into the VCMO, violent crimes and major offenders matters in the western United States, provided instruction to FBI personnel as a certified FBI instructor, and operated as the official point of contact between the FBI and a foreign government's law enforcement, military, and intelligence agencies while assigned overseas voluntary. So they're good people who've done hard work. Source description. Alpha 95 has served in the FBI for more than 2 decades, most recently as a high-ranking official in the divisional level before retiring from the FBI. Romeo Papa 127 has known Alpha 95 for almost 2 decades. They have a close professional relationship, and they work together. So they know each other. This is not hearsay and blah, blah, blah. These are talking. Okay. Alpha 95 said there was reporting that... Alpha 95 said there was reporting within the FBI indicating FBI Director Patel was upset after learning about a group discussion that took place at the FBI Academy in Quantico, Virginia, among approximately a few dozen FBI personnel who, during the discussion, agreed, disagreed, or were indifferent to a request reportedly by Patel that he be issued an FBI firearm. According to Alpha 95, details of the group discussion were leaked. FBI Kash Patel learned about the discussion. Subsequently, FBI personnel who took part in the discussion were ordered to submit to polygraph examinations to determine their involvement in the discussion and any actions that they may have taken after the discussion took place. He characterized the order to conduct polygraph examinations as punitive. Then, reporting person Romeo Papa 127, a veteran of the FBI, blah, blah, blah. This is the, according to Romeo Papa 127, Alpha 99 is reliable, trustworthy, and competent. The information provided was believed to be credible and not yet independently, but has not been independently corroborated. And this is the thing about the jacket. Like and subscribe. So that's what I'm trying to say. Venmo and stuff. While I was chewing. Okay, here we go. This is the original without the part. This is what's actually in the report. You're welcome. See if I can blow this up. Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. Yeah. Okay. So, according to Alpha 99, FBI Director Kash Patel arrived at Provo Airport in Provo, Utah on September 11, 2025. He said that after his plane landed, he would not disembark the plane without an FBI raid jacket. Note, based on Alpha 99's reporting, Patel apparently did not have his own FBI raid jacket with him and refused to step from the plane without wearing one. They went on to say that many FBI agents and other FBI personnel were busy working on the aftermath of the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and that FBI personnel had to stop and ask around to find an FBI raid jacket, a medium-sized one, that would fit Patel. There were many large and extra large FBI raid jackets available. Did I not, when I was playing around with them, the first story came out, Remember when I was playing around? I'm right again. Okay. God damn. By the way, I would wear a medium or a small, but I like shit to show off the fact that even at 56 years old, I'm keeping myself in pretty good shape. You know what I mean? I would scream at someone to have it tapered so I don't look hippie. I'm kidding. Right. So finally, according to Alpha 99, FBI personnel searched for a medium-sized FBI raid jacket that would fit him. Finally found one. That raid jacket belonged to one of the female FBI special agents. That's just feels so good. Alpha 99 said the raid jacket belonged to a female FBI agent, was then delivered to him, but when he was inspecting the jacket, he noticed two areas of the upper sleeves near the shoulders did not have Velcro patches attached. And I love that they have registered so that the patent still exists. That's nice. Alpha 99 said FBI Director Kash Patel then reportedly said he would not leave the aircraft until he had two patches to cover those areas. According to Alpha 99, members of the FBI SWAT then took patches off their uniforms and ran those patches over to the FBI Director at the airport. They were not there. Like, they had to travel to get there to do this. The patches were attached to the loaner FBI raid jacket, and FBI Director Kash Patel disembarked the plane. Fucking pathetic. Oh, God, what a creep. So I got that whole report. I'll finish reading it later for all of us to enjoy. But it's 115 pages of well-sourced stuff. There is no. They mentioned that there is no money allocated to form new gang and violent crime task forces. Many of the legacy task forces that went belly up when Ray was outed, and bridges with local law enforcement were burned. Source further stated, in addition to no money, there is no political capital to restore them. The budget took a big hit. They were meant to move over and cover the gap at ICE. Yeah, shocking. And then Trump's, of course, pardoning, leaders of, Venezuelan and Honduran drug gangs. Let me grab one more. Yeah, here you go. And dun dun. Hold on. Oh, I've still got that music. Hold on 1 second. Is it in here? Yeah. Here we go. Oh, quit it. Oh, quit it. All right, here we go. That's not what I'm trying to do. Go back to here. Back this way. Yeah. I got it. We got a breaking news story. Very exciting. I guess I got to make sure my here it is. Lawmakers demand urgent briefing with Pam Bondi over secret new Epstein intel. Wow. All right. Lawmakers from both sides of the aisle are demanding an urgent sit-down with Attorney General Pam Bondi over new information related to late sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. Late should be in air quotes. I think he's still alive on an island somewhere run by a Saudi prince. I'm just spitballing. In a letter sent Wednesday, they gave Bondi until Friday to provide them with new information that was cited as the impetus for fresh Epstein-related investigations, which would hinder the full release of the files. Republicans Thomas Massey, Lisa Murkowski, joined Dems Ro Khanna, Ben Ray Lujan, and Jeff Merkley. Lujan? Yeah. In calling on Bondi to back up her words from a November 19th press conference. As lawmakers note in the letter, Bondi at that time said new and additional information had emerged to warrant fresh investigations into figures connected to Epstein. Even though, who would that be? Hope you find someone in your life that looks at you the way Jeffrey Epstein looks at Donald Trump's hairline. They argue that it was necessary to reveal any new information in order to ensure the smooth implementation of the Epstein Files Transparency Act, which compels the Justice Department to publicly release all unclassified records, documents, communications, and investigative materials on the disgraced financier. by December 19th. In light of the short 30-day deadline to release the Epstein files, we are particularly focused on understanding the contents of any new evidence, information, or procedural hurdles that could interfere with the department's ability to meet the statutory deadline. You know what? Fuck it. Drag it out. That's what I say, chat room. Drag it the fuck out. Trump, do everything. Just put both feet on the brakes and grind the fucking gears as you steam down this hill. Please. Take all the time you can. I was going to say want, but that would be forever. This is the New Island stuff has, I'll show you that in a minute, the dental scene and stuff. And also, I don't want everybody to focus on the fact that apparently Donald Trump gets new veneers every 18 months instead of brushing his teeth like a normal person. And so, having a dental setup wherever you go might be a thing. All right. That said, all he's going to do is drag this out for more months and months until Marjorie Taylor Greene has, a higher platform to yell about it when she actually leaves office in January, right? So have at it, dumb fuck. Do everything you can, because all you're going to do is delay it until it's right in the window of the midterms. I mean, they tried to pull this fucking, rip the stitches out and pull the Band-Aid off and use frontier medicine to get the musket ball out of the wound. All the analogies I can come up for quick surgery. And to get over something quickly, they just poured whiskey in the wound and cauterized it to try and get past it with this stupid Pam Bondi memo, which she herself has just admitted is bullshit, always was. So, this whole, there's new stuff. So we may have to investigate some of these awful people, and we can't tell you who they are or or why Trump, because of the stuff we found out Trump. It's part of an ongoing investigation Trump, and it might, and again, I think the national security argument that you're going to hear from these dickheads, Patches Patel, that's funny. Cash Patches. I think, the reasoning they're going to use, whether they mention it or not, for hiding every reference to Trump in these files, any images, any video that's there, is national security. And that anybody who does it will be violating national security. And if you think there's a Pentagon Papers of the 2020 somethings, it's the images of Donald Trump getting lap dances from underage girls that allegedly Epstein had in his safe that he showed to Michael Wolff, and video and other stuff, surveillance that Epstein might have had of Trump in a dead man switch situation, stored on hard drives in multiple places all over the world or on his properties. Somebody in the FBI, the CIA, State Department, somewhere in there, the Justice Department is going to say this is too important, and they're going to put the release of that materials up against any harm that might come to them in terms of national security. Let Trump argue that if the world knows he was, a pedophile's wingman and that he participated in sex with minors endangers national security. If that's going to be his argument, let him fucking make it in the open. So, yeah. So there's, this is, okay. So this is let me show you this stuff. See if this is all open. Yeah. There's a lot of pictures and stuff that come out, and it's just very odd. This is the dentist room that he had. And again, like I said, Trump gets all of his teeth redone on the regular, so why would you go to a dentist's office for that? Right? And this is in the Virgin Islands, the ironically named. The fuck is that? Let's do weird masks on the wall. This is his old landline phone. Who's New York office, Darren cell, Rich office, Mike cell, cell, Patrick cell, cell. Dersh, what do you think? One of these is going to be that. Larry cell. Kitchen, and then these are all the other secondary lines in there. Ew, the DNA that's probably on those buttons. Jesus. Palm tree lined walk through. Yeah.
As a bartender in Vegas, I see a lot, but I always try to look out for people and keep them safe.
Who doesn't want an ad of what they do?
People still think fentanyl is just in pills, but it's showing up in cocaine, meth, even party drugs, especially here in Clark County.
I don't buy any audio of this at all. Like, it's just the wind is blowing. Yeah, we get it. Say what you will about the, the Epstein and Epstein adjacent people of this world, but they're all without exception nouveau riche dickheads. This is the island and bathroom. Yeah, there's just videos. There's the grounds. No shit. That's the place. We've seen some of this stuff too before. This looks like binoculars seen on a nightstand next to a bedroom. Jeffrey Epstein's estate in the Caribbean. Well, I mean, the property was pretty big. Still kind of just like crappy. It's one of the things that they don't tell you is that a lot of these guys, Trump, for all of his "I'm a billionaire" noise, somebody did the math a while back and said that his lifestyle would cost you about $25 million a year, all in, if he didn't own the properties already, which he does in a lot of cases. So there are no signs that the stuff he has in terms of material wealth points to being a billionaire. Yeah, these are just, whatever. Inside the bedroom and art. This is we've seen this study. This weird, bathhouse tile bathroom. It's an open bathing area. It's like literally a Roman bath style thing. Lounge chairs near the bathroom, right? Yeah, just so you can hang out and watch somebody in the tub. I've always wondered why, if giant bathrooms, I can... Work with me on this. Chat room, see if you can figure this out with me or whatever. They have no class. Exactly, Colin. They're gross. They're gross on all fronts, and so, of course, their taste and shit would be gross and weird and whatever. It's not that I'm against the idea of a big bathroom. But I would say that why would you put seats facing a window like you're just going to have a bath and then sit there in your robe like you can't... It's a house. It's not like a spa. You can go wherever you fucking want. So just... go walk around your house in your robe, I guess. But if you're going to watch the wind, obviously you can turn the chairs around and watch somebody in the tub, I think is probably what's going on here. But in the design of it, and a rug in the bathroom, like a full-size rug, the fuck is wrong with you? Even had to put towels down, I guess, because duh. But I can understand a dressing table. You get out of the out of the tub. There's enough space in there where it doesn't steam up everything. So and maybe the steam helps take the wrinkles out of your clothes. I don't know. A little hanging stand, a little dressing table for all your stuff that you're going to get dressed up instead of in the closet. If you wanted to do that, kind of makes sense. Maybe you have different, not just sinks for washing your hands, but a tiny little ball sink. An industrial bidet where you just back up to that thing like an astronaut shitter and just get your undercarriage vamoosed, something like that. But just like having chairs in there, just I can smell that fucking room. It just stinks. Also, they got a lot of big rooms without a lot of what for? Dance space? I mean, at least have the decency to have a stripper pole in the middle of the goddamn thing. Then it would make sense, right? If you hung out with adult women, that would be probably something you'd do. I Did I once have one in my bedroom? I refuse to answer on the grounds that it may make me seem sexier than I am. Or less than, no, I don't know. Anyways, right, like I don't understand what the big blank space, if you're going to have a bedroom, why have a round bed in the middle with a dual headboard, or have at least like a movie theater type of screening thing here? So I don't know what the fuck, why? It just seems like you built the rooms big and you have no idea what you were going to do with them, right? Yeah, it's all shoved into a corner like a poor person bought a rich house. That's what it looks like. When I remember when I moved from an apartment into a house for the first time, and I was like, Jesus, how am I going to furnish? It's going to be more expensive to furnish this fucking place, because I got an apartment's worth of furniture in a house. That's always awkward, right? And yet they never updated it. It'd be one thing if you did that temporarily. They need room for the horses, sure. With Trump demolishing Epstein Island, building a ballroom. He wishes he could. Yeah. So anyways, that stuff got released. And then, this idea that there's going to be some Bondi is going to skirt this shit for Trump. Ugh. Let's see, Sarah. Gonna try, yeah. And then this is the other one. This is all these, the troll part on X. We got to talk about this. How much time do I have left? 2 minutes? Great. Trump appears to have leaned on foreign accounts masquerading as MAGA influencers to fuel a Truth Social tirade this week. He blasted out more than 160 posts during an unhinged Truth Sinkhole rant after boosting X tweets from MAGA supporters. Midas News, great job, guys. Point out that some of the MAGA supporting X accounts that Trump reposted are operating outside the United States, in South and Southeast Asia, Europe, Eastern Europe, and India. Let's see. X only began to display the information on Friday when Elon Musk owned the platform, launched its own About This Account tool. Yeah, so this is the one that really stood out. Top MAGA influencers accidentally unmasked as foreign trolls. We've been talking about this for a long time. There are a lot of people out there, especially in MAGA world, and perhaps on the far left as well, that think they have more support for their ideas than they actually do. That when they say something egregious, ridiculous, insulting or gross or whatever, and a bunch of people go, yeah, goddamn right, in their feed, they're like, see, I'm saying something that a lot of people agree with, and it gives them this false sense of security and bravado about it, when in reality, they are just being troll boosted. This is okay, so this story came out, I want to say last week, was it? A couple weeks ago. Just barely. Social media account rolled out a new feature in an effort to increase transparency. Yeah, it was a week ago. Unwittingly revealing that many of the site's top MAGA influencers are actually foreign actors. The new About This Account feature, which became available to X users on Friday, allows users to see where an account is based, when they joined the platform, how often they've changed their username, and how they downloaded the X app. This is easily one of the greatest days on the platform, wrote Democratic influencer Harry Sisson. Seeing all these MAGA accounts get exposed as foreign actors trying to destroy the United States is a complete vindication of Democrats like myself and many on here who have been warning about this. And many of us who left because we don't want to put money in the pockets of Elon Musk. Dozens of major accounts masquerading as America First or MAGA proponents have been identified as originating in places like Russia, India, and Nigeria. And by the way, a lot of the ones in India and Nigeria paid for by Russia. In one example, the account MAGA Nation X, with nearly 400,000 followers and a bio reading Patriot Voice for We the People, is actually based in Eastern Europe. Shocking. An Ivanka Trump fan account, Ivanka News, has 1 million followers, frequently posts about the dangers of Islam, the threat of illegal immigration, and the support of Trump. That account is based in Nigeria. This is total Armageddon for the online right, wrote law student, left-wing influencer Mika Irfan. It's looking like half of their large accounts were foreigners posing as Americans all along. And the other half thought that they're like, oh, this is a winning idea. These are winning thoughts. I have other big supporters and their army of subscribers that agree with me. While the About This went live on Friday, X's head of product development said they had a few rough edges they're planning to smooth out. Information about account location, for example, could be altered with the use of a VPN, though Beer said the company is planning to resolve that. Users on X reported the tool being taken down just hours after it went live. Some speculating the uncovering of the origins of far-right accounts may have something to do with its removal, although it was reinstated. And I agree. I think they, they don't want to give people's fucking longitude and latitude. But that in and of itself, yeah, Tim Pool, no bots here, bruh. They're all under his hat. Mag is a total waste of time. I agree. And energy. I agree. Again, I'm looking forward to when the major wins his seat in Congress, to sitting down with him and groups of other Democratic lawmakers and staffers and talking about legislation that can be crafted to help people and secure the United States from its enemies, foreign and domestic. From the next time there's a Trump or an oligarch punching their way into the White House, that there are some limitations on it. It's a crazy notion. I know. You guys are wonderful. I will see you guys later on this afternoon. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show, etc., etc., etc. Let's see, where we go. We'll just go with feeling kind of easy right now. So I'll see you guys this afternoon. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. Hit that like, share the show, subscribe. That would really help more than anything else. If you're watching the clips, if you're watching the show, sub. Doesn't cost you anything.